prefer doing live chats because it's how I feel most connected to the audience. I don't really like doing the pre-recorded live chats or just pre-recorded chats. So here I am live. So ask me any questions that you want to. But this particular episode is about the recent tabloid furore over what has been dubbed the Wokies, the Wokie Awards, that are reportedly going to be Harry and Meghan's kind of rival awards to rival the royal family's honours awards list. But it's actually fake news. So we're going to read an article and kind of work our way kind of through. So if you have any questions, do ask me. I'm here for probably up to around about 30 minutes. So, use me as best as you want to. If you do have any questions, if you're watching on catch up, of course, pop them in the comment box, and I will try to answer as many as I possibly can. We have a few people dropping in already. So I'm just going to kind of get into it, I think. So let's start with, I think, the best place to start is always the beginning. Is it not? Oh, by the way, I hope you're all doing well and happy December. It's been a moment. It's been a while since I've been on this channel in a live chat. So I hope you've all had a really good past couple of weeks. Hope you're having a really good December. So just hello and welcome to everybody. Right, the beginning is always the best place to start. So, as do many of these kind of, fake news, it always starts pretty much with a tabloid newspaper. And the headline screeched out a few days ago now. It was actually on the 7th of December. And the headline screeched out, Meghan Markle and Prince Harry will launch their own woke awards, rivaling the Queen's gongs to honour significant contributions in the couple's favourite fields. Meghan and Harry will award individuals, charities and companies with honours. Those who champion the Duke and Duchess's favourite causes will be awarded. Fields include charitable services, education, science and youth empowerment. The award scheme will be run by the Duke and Duchess's Archewell Foundation. They're due to launch the awards in the coming year. I'm not going to read all of it, I'm just kind of scooting through. Then the article picks up on the fact that they live in Montecito, in the £11 million mansion. The awards will run alongside the Queen's own gongs, which include knighthoods, CBEs, OBEs and MBEs. Meghan and Harry's awards will focus specifically on standout players in particular fields, court documents seen by The Sun have revealed. Right. These will include charitable service. I've read all that. Blah, blah, blah. Right. Basically, what it's kind of saying is it's trying to pit Harry and Meghan against the royal family. It's trying to kind of say that Harry and Meghan are trying to compete with the royal family. It's trying to say that Harry and Meghan are still trying to be royal, even though they have removed themselves from the working side of the royal family. Of course, they are still royal. They still have the HRHs, even though they are not using them. So, again, it's one of those articles that's kind of put out there to kind of disrupt things and kind of get tongues wagging. When in reality, a couple of days later, we actually had clarification from the Sussexes themselves. So, Harry and Meghan did dispute claims of competing with the Queen's honours list. It turns out that actually where The Sun had seen these court documents was actually in the trademark protection. Do you remember ages ago when they were trademarking and protecting the Royal Foundation of the Duke and Duchess of Sussex? Well, Sussex Royal, they kind of put in an application to kind of, for t-shirts and merchandise and magazines and TV and all the rest of it. It never actually means that you're going to do all of those things in practice. It just means that you are protecting kind of your brand in case other people try to kind of rip you off and try and do those things using your name or using your brand name. So it's just about protection. So it turns out that The Sun has just seen those kind of protective documents, kind of, that kind of trademark documentation, which is pretty standard stuff. The Cambridges have done it with their Royal Foundation. Harry and Meghan were doing it with Sussex Royal, and they are now doing it with Archibald as well. So it's nothing out of the ordinary. So I'm going to read the clarification. So Harry and Meghan, of course, are eager to launch their new non-profit organisation, Archibald, but they have no plans to compete with the Queen and of course the Queen's own honours list, which is officially recognising individuals in the UK on behalf of the country. In a statement shared today with the media, the Duke and Duchess of Sussex clarified that there will be no sense of rivalry with the monarchy in the couple's upcoming stateside philanthropic endeavours. False British tabloid reporters alleged that the couple were planning to launch an awards ceremony meant to show up the Queen's own honours and awards. I'm just kind of skip to the bit where they actually say the statement. Here we go. We look forward to sharing more about Archibald's work in the weeks ahead, but any suggestion that it is intended to rival the UK honours list is false, said an Archibald press secretary, so it's coming from the horse's mouth. Furthermore, the trademark application has followed the normal course of business for the US trademark process, and any suggestion otherwise is also false. And I think that was in response to, again, tabloids saying that I think I read that Harry and Meghan hadn't put their signature on it, so it was sent back to be re-signed. Whatever. Harry and Meghan first announced the launch of Archibald, of course, back in April. And of course, we're still waiting for things to kick off. We had the launch of the website, although not in full. The web presence is there, but there's no kind of meat on the bones, so to speak. So we're kind of waiting for everything to kind of come about, and so we can actually see exactly what it's all about. And that's kind of it. There is no award ceremony planned for the moment. And if ever there is one, which of course organisations often do have awards. I mean, take for example, newspapers. Sometimes tabloids have their own awards ceremonies. Probably the Daily Mail's probably got their own. I don't know. But, certainly big corporations and newspapers and TV stations can often have their own awards ceremonies and schemes going on to reward people that kind of work in the field of their operations. So it doesn't really surprise me that Harry and Meghan could potentially in the future do some kind of Archibald award. But at the moment, that is not on the cards. They don't intend to do that kind of straight off the bat. I think if they were going to do it, probably the best kind of time is to just wait a little bit and kind of let Archibald settle into its kind of sectors that it's going to be working in. Let it get established. Let it get some kind of authority in the field of which it's going to be operating in. Then I think once a corporation or a business or something has a good reputation in that field, has some kind of authority in it, that's the time when I think you can kind of award or reward people for doing good work. So, in the future, maybe, but certainly right now, I don't think that's their plans. And of course, the fake news sparked lots of other people commentating, especially personalities on social media. They were dubbed the Woke Awards, the Wokie Awards, and all the rest of it. So I'm going to go and read a few comments now. So lots of people saying hello. So hello to you all. Betsy says, Piers Morgan was complaining about the Woke Awards yesterday. Yes, he was indeed. Sean Kay says, why must the media make everything involving the Duchess of Sussex a competition against the royals? I don't know, but it is most definitely tiresome. Betsy says, complaining it was a rival structure for honouring. I mean, I don't even know how they could technically have a rival structure. See, it was weird anyway that they even tried to pit it against what the royal family do, because the royal family, the Queen's award system is actually part of like national. It's a national one. It's actually kind of supported by the government. It's an officially recognised honours on behalf of your country. It's not the same as, for example, you know, an organisation having their award scheme. So I don't even know how you could compete with a country's official honours recognition. Every country has its own kind of honours scheme. So it's like saying that a corporation is competing with the American scheme of honouring people, or the British one, or Australian, or whatever it might be. So, so yeah, it was kind of a little bit. I found it weird that they were trying to kind of pit that, because it's totally not the same thing. And also usually awards have like categories, don't they? So, you know, it doesn't really fit. It just doesn't fit. Annie says, why has lies become clickbaits and money only to tarnish someone's reputation? Shame on the media. Mary says, people are still saying that Meghan's miscarriage is a lie. There are always going to be people that say whatever. Yeah, I haven't. The least said about those sorts of people, probably the better. Let's have a look. Hilly says, sadly, they're just trying to stir the pot. There's quite a few people trying to stir the pot. But yes, that's kind of it. So basically, it was just fake news, really. Yeah, and of course, we still don't know the reason why, the personal reason why Harry and Meghan suspended the trial in January. So they still aren't obviously coming over. None of the family are going to be spending Christmas with the Queen. Just makes things easier. So Harry and Meghan aren't expected back in the UK anytime soon. Who knows? Maybe Meghan is pregnant now. We really don't know. I mean, the time scale of kind of in between kind of January and the 9 months later does seem a little bit suspect. Not that I'm casting aspersions, you understand, but you know, it has got people's tongues wagging. So hopefully for the couple, then there might be some good news in the new year that they can share with us. And obviously you kind of have to wait. Well, it's advised to wait the first trimester before you tell people about things. So hopefully we'll get a little bit of good news in the new year. Who knows? Hilly G says, curiously, we see your comments, but what is the true feeling towards a couple in the UK? The true feeling, I would say, having my ear to the ground, not just looking at what's written in the tabloids, not just looking at what some trolls are saying on Twitter, because of course we know there are lots of twits on Twitter, but actually speaking to real people on the ground. When people are talking about Harry and Meghan, I think people feel generally that it's sad that the situation came to where it came to, that Harry and Meghan felt like they had to remove themselves, not only from the working royal family, but also from the country itself. People also generally feel a little bit abandoned by Harry and Meghan. People feel like he's left the people of the country, where in reality we all know that he's left for various different reasons. Partly family issues, partly racial issues, partly media attention and privacy issues. I think the major gripe that Harry has had is with those three things. I don't actually think that Harry and Meghan have had any beef with the general British population, who actually have supported them from when they first got engaged to turning up and cheering at their wedding and all of their engagements. Actually welcoming Meghan into the country. Of course, you get those few twits on Twitter who shout the loudest, but you can't put a whole country's population just based on a few twits on Twitter. So I think that people feel abandoned. Generally, people feel like he's taken a lot from the country in terms of wealth, privilege, position, influence, and has basically turned his back and taken all of that and gone to basically, you know, feather his own nest and make loads of money off the back of what the country has given him. I think that's the general feeling of the population in the UK. Like I say, it's not as easy as that. Harry and Meghan have their own reasons, which I said at the start, but on the face of it, people think he's left us, basically. And people do feel a little bit abandoned by Harry and Meghan. Again, I also get a feeling that people do wish them well. People do wish them success. I don't think people necessarily want Harry and Meghan to come to any harm. Certainly, people don't want to pay for them. That is, since they left, any suggestion that's been drummed up in the press about the British taxpayer paying for them, people don't want to pay for them. And of course, Harry and Meghan have took that on board because they are paying for themselves, and they have done ever since they left, really. And of course, they paid back the money for Frogmore Cottage renovation. So I think Harry and Meghan sensed that was what the British people were feeling, and that is why they made that voluntary contribution. Of course, the Frogmore Cottage money wasn't required of them. It wasn't ever asked for. It was offered by them, and I imagine that is why they made that offer in the first place. Connie says, how has he turned his back? They literally are hindered by COVID, otherwise they might have been back. Yes, they may have been back, and unfortunately COVID has gotten in the way of any plans they may have had to launch Archewell sooner, to come back to the UK to visit. Unfortunately, some people just don't see that. But that has been a block. But just in terms of going away to live in general, people do see it as that. And also, of course, Frogmore was pitched as being their UK base, and they were going to split their time between the two. Since kind of handing it over to Princess Beatrice, whatever private arrangement was made, people, although they've said that they'll come back and visit and stay with Princess Eugenie rather, and stay with Eugenie. Although they've said that they are going to do that, I think people think that's a sign pretty much that they aren't going to come back that often, even when COVID's over. So we can't just kind of use COVID as an excuse. I think they have kind of made signals, I think, the signals are that they aren't going to be spending a great deal of time. It's not going to be an equal time split between the UK and the States. And also, people have a general feeling of an outpouring of... people had an outpouring of love for both William and Harry after they lost their mother. And, of course, people wanted the best for both boys, and people were very upset when Diana passed away, of course, and I don't know, it's very difficult. People feel like the country has given them a lot: privilege, power, wealth, influence, and then to just remove yourself from it for whatever personal reasons you have. People feel like he's left the country and abandoned, basically. You asked the question, I gave the answer. It might not be what people want to hear, but that is the general feeling, I think, in the UK. It's one, and it's not even that people are angry. People are angry. People can kind of understand that he wasn't happy. I think, again, a lot of people think, if you're not happy, you shouldn't be made to do something that you don't want to do, that you're not entirely happy with or comfortable in. But to then completely leave the whole country and kind of signal then that you're not really going to come back that often. Yeah. Hilly G says, I think being in the US helps him to separate from the press about his mom and give him some peace. I think definitely a period of reflection is what the entire royal family needed about this whole situation. Like I said before in previous videos, I think now is a time for healing. I think everyone, especially after the year we've had of all the deaths and the aggravation and all with COVID, I think people are actually valuing what is important in their lives, and that is mainly family and friends. Everything else is just noise. And I think, you know, it's a time for healing. I get a sense that Harry and Meghan are in a time of they've done what they've done. They've removed themselves. They are living the life that they have chosen to live, and they're on a period of just healing. I don't think they want the aggravation. They don't want people to keep on drumming up, trying to put wedges between the royal family and Harry and Meghan. People just want to. I think they want to just move on. I think generally people want to move on. Also, I think the general British population want to move on. I actually think if you read a lot of the comments, and again, I'm not talking about just the trolls. A lot of people kind of just want Harry and Meghan to get on with their lives, and a lot of people don't want the press to keep bringing back loads of Harry and Meghan stories. The press are doing it because people are still clicking and reading it. But I think generally speaking, people are like, well, Harry and Meghan have made their decision. They've gone. They've done what they've done. They're living their life. They're, seemingly happy and being successful. But, why keep writing? Why keep bringing up all these stories? So I think people are also beginning to question now why the tabloids are still doing it, to the extent to which they are still doing it. So yeah, I think that might be a little bit of a backlash coming next year. Who knows? Hilly G says had to deal with it in the UK. I have no idea what it's like in terms of the press stateside, in terms of are they in the newspapers every day? I don't know. Are they in all the magazines? I don't know because I don't have access to that. But yeah, things have slowed down a little bit here in the UK with Harry and Meghan news. Kathleen says they've also been beaten up mostly by the press. They are trying to heal. Peace of mind is important. Yeah, I agree. I think peace and healing should be on all sides. I definitely don't think one side over another. I think it's just a period of healing and personal growth. And I think Harry and Meghan are doing that. And I think everyone else, the press, royal family, everyone, us, me, you, everybody also needs to get on the kind of healing wagon, so to speak. Who doesn't want healing? Mercury Angel says, I agree. Harry and Meghan chose their path and are living their life they want. They are. COVID made it a bit more difficult as they cannot physically be with their family. Yeah, I completely agree, 100%. He says, you don't hear as much here. Most comes out of the UK. Okay. And Hilly G says, not as much negativity. Again, I think it's the way that people, I don't know, it's the difference. I think it is a culture difference. It's kind of what people kind of expect celebrities and official people to be like. Does that make sense? It doesn't make sense. I'm not wording it very well. It's like the difference between a celebrity and a royal. People have higher expectations of people in an official capacity here in the UK. Celebrities are celebrities, royals are royals, politicians are politicians. And people have different expectations of, and even like standards of behaviour in the UK of these different groups. Celebrities can get away with, everything pretty much. Politicians are held to a very, very high standard of accountability here in the UK. And of course, royals, the same, are held to a very high standard of accountability. But of course, people can't vote them out. So even if royals do make mistakes, and of course, invariably over the years, they have made mistakes, everyone does, people then have to kind of deal with it because you can't vote them out. So just because you don't like what one royal may have done, 20 years ago or whatever, people have to kind of move on. With politicians, you can vote them out. celebrities, you can kind of stop buying, you can stop consuming their things, or people can choose to kind of stop working with them. We saw a little bit of that with Prince Andrew. People kind of, his reputation is tainted by all the drama surrounding what's going on in his life right now. Therefore, he lost a lot of his support from the charities, and that made his position within the royal family completely untenable for the foreseeable future. So people in the UK hold different groups of people to kind of different levels of accountability, so to speak. I also think there's a big difference between how people view self-publicity over over in different parts of the world, and we have more of a kind of self-deprecating sense of looking at people. We kind of like people that kind of almost put themselves down, if that makes sense. I think it is definitely a culture issue as well. Mary Anna says, do you think that Meghan controls Harry? No, I mean, one of the things that's been surfacing over the past, well, I've known about it for ages, but there's that kind of clip of Harry saying, about the press and not really liking England. So no, I think Harry has kind of had these feelings for a very, very long time. I think Meghan has kind of given him, together they've kind of supported and given each other I think the ability to believe that they can do anything and that they're not really constrained. I think before Harry met Meghan, I think he probably felt like he did only have the one path, that destiny was kind of controlling him and he had no choice in it. I think meeting Meghan has kind of showed him that they can do other things, and of course at that point they made a choice. And of course, they've chosen the path that they've gone down. So I think they've both kind of helped each other. I think without Harry's kind of global royal standing, Meghan wouldn't be able to be doing exactly what she's doing now. So they've helped and they've complemented each other. Hilly G says, I understand what you mean. There's a difference in how we view it all. Yeah, there is a big cultural difference. Charlotte Vale says, I think it makes the press mad that this couple seem to be doing fine. They seem very intent on family and working. The press are the press, and I think they are mad. I think you're right. I think they are mad. I think they have had a little bit of a vendetta. Well, I say a little bit of an understatement. They've had a massive vendetta for a very long time against Harry and Meghan, and they are continuing it on. But like I said earlier, I think the general feeling of the British public is, yes, Harry's kind of left, and people didn't really want him to leave, but at the same time, he's done it. He's gone, so that they don't really want to hear as much about Harry and Meghan, but the press are still doing it anyway. And Mary says, do you think they will lose the Duke and Duchess title? Tricky one. Tricky. Not so much the Duke and Duchess. I don't think that is necessarily at risk. I think what's more at risk is the HRH. I think is more the question. So, it depends what they do in the future, especially with any political ambitions. And of course, we don't know exactly what political ambitions or affiliations they might be wanting to strike out and get themselves involved with. We've had an indication because of the previous US election with kind of where they stand, where they fit. Whether or not at the year review that is going to be taken into account, and that in itself could be enough to lose the HRH, or whether or not they're going to literally set out what they are going to be doing politically, if anything at all. But if anything, I think it hinges on the political aspirations of Harry and Meghan, and I don't think it's the Duke and Duchess title that's at stake. I think it's the HRH that's at stake. But no one has a crystal ball. Charlotte says, royals are not held to a high standard. We say no, but as we are stuck with them, I rather think our standards are rather low. Yeah, I mean, in the UK, we do hold them to a high account. Mercury Angel says, personally, I never believed that Meghan controlled Harry. I think she probably understood what he was going through and he found someone in his corner. Yeah. Maddie says, do you think Harry and Meghan should continue suing the press? I personally think they should. It's not fair to lie about them. Again, it's that thing of the never complain, never explain. Now, people are going to have their own personal opinions on whether or not that is the right mind outlook to have. I think what we are going to see by Harry and Meghan taking the legal actions that they are taking, we are going to see whether or not, in due course, we will find out whether or not it is the best policy or not. I think at the moment it's still too early to give an opinion on. Harry and Meghan are testing it. And like I said, it may work. It may not work. It's been the long-held belief of the royal family that if you comment, if you knock back kind of more, it's more to do with the more silly stories that the press come out with. Of course, there are red line issues, and when a royal family member feels like a red line issue has been crossed, they can and have done release statements, putting things straight, so to speak. For example, Catherine with the topless pictures, Harry and Meghan with the drone over their Cotswolds property looking in the windows. There was also a statement put out about the treatment, I think, of the Frogmore staff about not talking to Harry and Meghan. So there are some red line issues which they will comment on, but for the majority of the kind of tabloid gossipy type stories, they typically don't, because they believe that the more you comment, the more stories there will be just to get a comment. So what we are going to be seeing now with Harry and Meghan suing the press is, first of all, will they win? Will they actually win those cases? And therefore, will it stop the press putting out fake news? We don't know. We will know in due course once all of this has been settled. So I, like everyone else, am really, really intrigued. I am waiting to see the outcome of the court cases, and I am waiting with bated breath to see how that affects the media's portrayal of Harry and Meghan. Will it control things? Will it help settle things down? Or will it just ignite them to post more rubbish just to get a response, just to get sued, to keep the stories going on? At the moment, we don't know, but this is going to be tested. This is testing the never complain, never explain to its limits, and we will find out. And I will be watching, just like everyone else, to see what the outcome is. I know that's a long-winded answer, but that, I think, is an honest account of what's going on. Laurie says, clearly Harry wanted a different path from a younger age and eventually chose it. He understood the ramifications. His decisions could not have been easy. I believe he loves his family, all members. I think the loss of Diana it affected both boys. But Harry was that little bit younger, and I think it is still, to this day, a really humongous issue, I think, in Harry's mental health. And he will forever be dealing with the fallout from losing his mother. So yeah, I think he has had these feelings for a very long time. Maddie says, I think we should remember they are all still a family. Yes, they do. They have gone separate ways, but people should not treat their lives as some soap drama. Yeah, but of course, when people go their separate ways, there is always a chance to come back together. That's what I'm talking about, the healing period. Sometimes, space, distance is a real good healer, and I'm hoping that that is what's happening behind the scenes. I don't think we've commented on the. I've talked about Meghan's miscarriage, but the one thing that I haven't updated you on is my new thoughts on whether or not Harry and Meghan told the royal family at the time that they had suffered a miscarriage. Now, of course, we don't know. There is no clarification on Harry and Meghan, or the royal family haven't said if they were told about Harry and Meghan's miscarriage at the time. But I'm beginning to think that they didn't know. I'm beginning to think that maybe the royal family only found out maybe just a little bit before Meghan's article went out, or even they may not have known until the article went out. But generally, I don't think they knew about it. I really, really don't. Let me know your thoughts, but I just, it's a feeling. I don't think they said anything to them. So yeah, I mean, there was lots of speculation over did the royal family know. I don't think they did. Charlotte says the royals used their friends to leak, to explain and complain. Yes, in a kind of indirect way, the royals have used kind of staff, although we don't know whether it's come from the royals themselves, whether it is just the staff. But that is one thing that if I worked at the palace, if I had a prominent position within the palace, and I was only thinking this the other night myself, I would want to end that. I think that really they should all be working as a team. And every royal and every royal staff should be working as a team. Nobody should be trying to kind of outdo one another. If there is a big story coming up, nobody should be trying to deflect by throwing somebody else under the bus. Whether or not that comes from the royal themselves, or whether that comes from just the staff, the kind of men in grey suits, so to speak, we don't know. But I would make that a sackable offence. If I was running the palace operations, I would be saying, look, if anybody is caught throwing another royal under the bus for the sake of a deflective story, you get sacked. That is, I would make that a sackable offence. I would make that gross misconduct. What I would say is I would want the royals teams, different royals teams, working closer together, more as a team, more team building. And I would be saying that actually, if there is a problem, like for example a Prince Andrew story coming out, or some kind of big story coming out that's negative against the royals, that actually they all work together to help support whatever it is it might be. So I completely agree. I don't think, and it kind of shocked me to learn that that was actually going on. And I don't think it's right. And if I worked at the palace, I would be stamping that out. That would be crushed. That would be gone. People would be sacked. Heads would roll. I would send people to the tower. Seriously. So my honest opinion is I don't think that should go on. I would be stomping that out immediately. People would be sacked. And I really, really hope that the man who was involved with Dan Wootton, that was leaking information, I hope he has been investigated. I really, really do. And of course, I haven't heard anything about that since, really. Miss Giselle says, do you think the monarchy will ever be abolished? In a word, no. Lately, it's been a lot of talks and news articles. There's always been talks that the monarchy is no longer needed. But the Republic, people that want the monarchy abolished in the UK are like a tiny, tiny fraction. So no, in a word, I am not worried at all about the monarchy ever being abolished. People see the future in William and Catherine. The intermediary will be Charles and Camilla. People see the new royal family, the new generation, as the Cambridges. And people want to see William as king. People want to see Catherine as queen. People want to see Prince George as the heir. So yes. So no, I don't think in any of our lifetimes the monarchy will be abolished. Thank you for all the people saying Happy Christmas. Happy Christmas to you guys too. Right, I'm going to kind of scoot down a little bit. Oh, Mercury Angel says, you might be right about the miscarriage. I think they may have felt not supported by the royal family. I think they just felt it was private. I honestly think something like that, sometimes you almost don't want to tell the people that are really close to you. I just think it was really personal at the time. Perhaps, you know, Harry and Meghan and William and Catherine and all the rest weren't on the best of speaking terms anyway. So they probably did just keep it to themselves, really. And I definitely don't think the media knew about it, because if the media knew about it, there is no way they would have kept that secret. That would have been out there. So I think they managed to completely keep that to themselves, totally. Maddie says, completely agree. I have always believed that there's too many camps in the royal family. It's almost a case for the fact that there should almost be like one big kind of office, but then they all kind of work together within. I would change things. If I worked there, I would drastically, heads would roll. Seriously, I would be on it. I would be on that totally. And also, I think there's a lot of people still working for the royals that have the wrong attitude completely. I really do. I would clear the decks. I think I would. There would be a mass cull. Let's put it that way. Anyone who didn't share my vision, they gotta go, girl. Do I think that saying the prince or Meghan and Harry because it causes people to threaten them by going to their house? Oh, I don't think I quite get your comment. Hang on, let me read it again. Do you think that them saying, the price of Meghan and Harry's house because it causes people to threaten them by going to their house? I think they just try and make them sound more privileged. So therefore, it's like they're hiding away in their £11 million mansion, Montecito mansion. It's just to kind of put that it's to remind people that they have a lot of money, and that they've removed themselves and gained things from the UK and blah blah blah. Right, let's have a little look at what people are saying down the bottom. Charlotte says, yes, different things, criticism and abuse. I find good people agree this could. Yeah, I think they just kept it really, really private, I think. Is there any fear of a mole in the Sussex household or staff or team? Well, nothing has leaked yet that's really big, so I don't think there is. I don't think there is a royal mole at the moment with them. But time will tell. Right, okay, I think I've answered quite a lot of questions and we've talked about a lot of the issues of the day. So I'm going to leave it for now. Of course, I invite you to share your own comments, opinions, views. Leave them in the comment section if you're watching on Catch Up. Thank you to everybody who made the live stream. I really do appreciate people coming in. And also, I really appreciate people checking what it's like here in Britain and what the British people think about what's going on as well. So I appreciate everybody coming to ask honest questions, and hopefully I've given an honest account and an honest answer. So I thank everybody very, very much. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for sharing and liking and leaving comments. And I want to wish you, until I come on live again, have an amazing December. Have the best December you can possibly have with all of everything that's going on in the world right now. So I'm going to leave you all. Thanks for watching. Mwah! And I will see you next time. Goodbye.